Hello, dear friends. Welcome to another edition of Spillin the Tea. I've got a lot to cover today, so I'm going to get right into it. A lot of big topics. The first is an update on the sale of St. John the Baptist. The second is an update on where we are with St. Paul's Herring Cove. Then I'll move into a COVID update based on the announcements out of provincial public health this past week. An updated Mass schedule, and an update on our Lenten mission. So I'm going to get right into it. Right, so the first thing about St. John the Baptist. I know this is going to be another chapter in sad news for some of you. So I just want you to know I understand that you have been through a lot as a community. As you know, I announced that we were in negotiations with a buying process that was initiated in the fall, and I've been dying to talk to you about the details of that, but I haven't been able to because of negotiations that were ongoing. But I think you're going to be very, very pleased with how things have worked out. We received a number of proposals from a number of people, a number of developers, and we accepted one that I don't even know if I can at this point discuss who the purchaser is or if it would be appropriate, so I won't. But I will say that we have an accepted offer in place. All of the conditions were removed last week. The closing date for the sale will be February the 15th, so this is just on Tuesday coming. Now, that's the sad news. It is, the final chapter in our ownership of St. John the Baptist Church. The good news is the developer has disclosed that part of his development agreement is going to be to preserve the church space, so whether it is in its present form or another form. So for those of you who were part of committees and conversations with me throughout this difficult process that led up to the final Mass and then closing the church and removing some things, we actually had quotes to move to get the stained glass removed and all this kind of stuff. The reason why that didn't happen is because the developer is planning on incorporating into this new development the physical infrastructure of St. John the Baptist Church. So as it currently stands, in the years to come, there is going to be a space in Armdale that, if not identical to, is going to resemble St. John the Baptist Church as a community space and part of a development there that will be able to offer this as a place for people to sit and pray and meditate, whatever, a place to just contemplate these great mysteries in life. Indeed, we have so many mysteries to contemplate, not the least of which is that we're selling churches in the first place, which gives me no joy. Like I said 1,000 times, I didn't become a priest to go around closing churches, that's for sure. So here we are. I think on the whole, this is tremendously positive news. It is good news for the Catholic community that now comprises Stella Maris. It is good news for people who live in Armdale. I think it is the best possible outcome for the sale of St. John the Baptist. So I hope you agree. Okay, so now on to St. Paul's. So where to start with St. Paul's? As you know, I moved the 4 p.m. Mass down to St. Paul's in the fall, and it was my hope to continue the 4 p.m. Mass down there. Clearly, that was all complicated by the Omicron variant and this recent shutdown and blah, blah, blah. So here we are now looking at starting to open up. And so I've asked the bishop to preside at a Mass at St. Paul's Herring Cove at 6 p.m. Yes, 6 p.m. on Saturday, February the 19th, and we will continue to have masses at St. Paul's at 6 p.m. on Saturday for the duration of this Phase 2 consultation. You've heard me talk about Phase 2 before, and I just want to review where we are in this process. So, back in June of 2021, the bishop signed off on a recommendation that was made by the parish leadership team to close St. Paul's. That was Phase 1. So Phase 1 was a leadership recommendation from the parish. That was submitted in June to the bishop, and he signed off on it. Phase 2 is an intentional consultation with parishioners from that church of their thoughts and feelings, reflections on that decision. So this is the Phase 2 consultation. That's ongoing, and I'll have more details on that later. In fact, I've got too much for this video this week, but next week I'll be talking about something that we're calling the listening committee, of how that's going to guide our discernment of Phase 2, okay? But here we are. Bishop is coming out on February the 19th, Saturday, February 19th at 6 p.m. to preside at the Mass, to formally kick off the Phase 2 process of consultation for the closure of St. Paul's. We will continue to have Masses there every Saturday at 6 p.m. until the end of Phase 2, whenever that is. And that will be determined, obviously, by the process, by the feedback, and we'll see where things go. I think in terms of a loose timeline, I think we'll continue to have Mass there. I would say until the end of April. That should give us enough time to get the feedback from everyone, and then it's my responsibility to get a Phase 2 report to the bishop. So lots of stuff in there, and lots more details to come forward about this thing that I've called a listening committee that's going to help guide us through this process. With that out there, our Mass rotation for the parish otherwise remains unchanged. So Saturdays at 4 p.m. there will be a Mass at St. Michael's. Saturdays at 6 p.m. there will be a Mass at St. Paul's. Sundays at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Mass at St. Michael's. And of course our weekday Mass rotation is unchanged. All of these Masses are at St. Michael's, Monday and Tuesday at noon, Wednesday at 7 p.m., Thursday and Friday at 9 a.m. Okay, so with that Mass schedule, as you know, Public Health made significant changes to the COVID restrictions, and so we're now in a 3-phase process of reopening. The first phase starts on Monday, February 14th, when things open up. It's going to feel like significantly, because we've been restricted to 50 people in the Mass with social distancing. Now we're up to 50% of our capacity with social distancing and masking. So therefore, there will be no need to register for any Mass in moving forward, okay? There's no need to register for any Mass moving forward. As I mentioned, mandatory masking. We can have congregational singing with masks on, and that is the same for the choir. We can also have a choir that must be socially distanced and must be masked. So there you go. We're slowly stepping in the right direction, so that's good. It gives me great joy, that's for sure. So I'm happy things are opening up. Lenten mission, I'm just overjoyed to tell you that Father Owen Connolly is coming out here to lead us in a parish mission on the topic of identity. So that'll be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of March, beginning at 7 p.m., ending by 8:30. Father Owen Connolly on this mission for helping us in deepening in our understanding of our true identity as individuals and what that means for the parish. Who are we? What is our identity? I can't think of a kinder gentler man to come and talk about this important and sometimes difficult topic of our true identity. Please mark your calendars for the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of March, 7 p.m., St. Michael's, a mission by Owen Connolly on our identity. Now, as a 2-week lead up into that mission and as a 2-week follow-up, I have asked our new employee, Ronnie Lunn, our coordinator of evangelization and engagement, to lead us in Wednesday evenings, so after the 7 p.m. Mass, which will take about a half an hour. Ronnie will lead us for about an hour on a warm-up in preparation for Father Owen's mission on identity, and then a couple of weeks afterwards. So that'll be the 2 Wednesdays before and the 2 Wednesdays after Father Owen's mission, 7 p.m. St. Michael's. And what I asked Ronnie when I asked him to consider this, and as we brainstormed it, what I want, my desired outcome is so that we can begin to say, I'm a parishioner of Stella Maris. I want you to think about that. I know it's easier said than done because of all of the legacy issues, because of all of the buildings, because of the difficulty of amalgamation, because of our attachments and our desire for detachment, all this kind of stuff. But if we are to move forward, and we pray for unity and peace at every single Mass, we've got to get comfortable with the idea of what we're trying to achieve here in this vast space that goes from Armdale out past Sambro into the Penance. This is our parish. So can we cultivate a sense of unity and peace around this new entity, beautifully named after our Blessed Mother, Stella Maris? Can we start to gel around I'm a parishioner at Stella Maris? So that's the focus of our Lenten program. The keynote, I guess, in the midst of it would be Father Owen Connolly, his mission, a 2-week lead up and a 2-week follow up led by Ronnie Lunn and myself. One other thing on Lent. So typically Wednesday evenings at the Mass, following the Mass, there's adoration. We're going to shift adoration from Wednesday evenings to Friday mornings. So after the Mass now, there's typically a Divine Mercy Chaplet. We'll continue with that. After the 9 a.m. Mass on Fridays, there will be adoration until noon. Okay, so lots more coming, lots of opportunity to pray for these efforts, to pray for the graces to flow through Lent this year. Okay, I'm going to press ahead and talk about this thing that I just mentioned called the Listening Committee for St. Paul's. So phase 2 is a process, as I mentioned, of deep consultation with the people impacted by the parish leadership's recommendation to close the church. So that was phase 1, leadership recommendation. Phase 2 is a deep consultation with the parishioners so that the bishop, and solely the bishop, can make the decision on the future of not only our parish, but of course what we're talking about here is the future of St. Paul's Church. Okay, so part of that process is the formation of what's called a listening committee. Now, I want to emphasize before I name who's on the listening committee, these people have no executive authority to make decisions. They don't even have in their terms of reference the authority to make any recommendations. Their job is to listen and record the thoughts and feelings from parishioners of St. Paul's on their opinion about the closure of St. Paul's. They will then, at the end of this phase 2 process, They will help me compile a report that I will submit to the bishop with with a recommendation of how to proceed, and then it is up to the bishop to make the decision as to how we proceed. So the membership of this listening committee is Jim and Ann Drysdale, Linda Lee, and her son Chris Lee. And again, I just want to emphasize these are people who will be attending the public meeting that we'll be having, which, by the way, will be on Tuesday, March the 15th at 7 p.m. at St. Paul's Church. We will be present in a structured way to receive feedback publicly. There is also another way if you choose not to go to the public meeting for any reason, but you still want to send your feedback in, or if you go to the public meeting and you don't feel like talking, but you just have things rumbling around in your heart that you want to get out, you can send a letter or an email to this email address. It's just listeningcommittee@gmail.com. It's written right here, listeningcommittee@gmail.com. Send anything you want about the closure of St. Paul's, and it will make its way into the report. Okay? So the way I see the report being done is that the first section, the body of it, will be a recap of what got us here, and appendices will be your written reports and any feedback from this public meeting on Tuesday, March 15th at 7 p.m. down at St. Paul's. Okay, I hope that's a little bit clear. So this is now, I hope you can come out to the masses that we'll be having at St. Paul's. And I want to emphasize for the rest of the parish that this is a difficult time for the dear people down in Herring Cove. And because we are still right now reduced to social distancing and stuff, capacity is going to be limited inside of St. Paul's for the first couple of weeks. So could you please, out of the goodness of your heart, for those of us in the rest of the parish, if you're not from traditionally part of the St. Paul's community, please don't go to the 6 p.m. Mass down there. Let's cultivate this as a time during these restrictions that gives primacy to the people who've traditionally been associated with that parish. All right. My goodness, I have a tendency to ramble on. I'm sorry. I'm sitting here alone in my office in front of a laptop, and it's weird. And I know this is a very, very amateur production, but it's just my way of trying to get the word out there. So thanks for your patience with me. I think that's all for this week. I know you're going to have many questions, so I'll provide more next week and more clarity as we move forward. God bless you all. Take care. Bye-bye.